There's a certain kind of gear that doesn't try to reinvent the bar. It just quietly really makes the experience a million times better. And clear ice has always been one of those things. Not essential, but once you have it, you miss it when it's gone. And that's what we're talking about today. So this is the new ecozy 2.1 inch clear sphere ice maker. And the first thing really worth mentioning is its size. This is easily the smallest footprint sphere ice maker that I've used, and I'm pretty sure it's the smallest on the market. It takes up dramatically less space than traditional clear ice machines. I think it's about roughly 70% less, which makes it far more realistic for actual home bar use or home kitchen use. It doesn't dominate the counter, it really just fits. So they've also updated the ice size itself. This machine makes a 2.1 inch clear ice ball, which is really a sweet spot. It's large enough to feel intentional in the glass, but not so oversized that it overwhelms a standard rocks or Mai Tai glass. It's well suited for single drinks, shared spaces, and smaller bars where space really is at a premium. And from start to finish, a ice ball takes about 30 minutes, and that's quick enough to be useful without feeling rushed. So once the cycle finishes, you will end up with a ice sphere in the basket, like I said, about 30 minutes. And this is where ecozy's crystal flux technology really comes into play. It's designed to freeze directionally, which gives you that clarity of that ice ball. It pushes out impurities as the ice forms rather than trapping them in the center. And you might notice a small hole or channel in the ice ball itself, and that's normal. That's a part of the freezing process, and it doesn't really impact how the ice performs in the glass at all. And what really matters here is the clarity, and this is proper clear ice. So using the machine is straightforward. You just add water to the top. There's no awkward angles, no disassembly required. The display gives you a countdown timer so you can see exactly how much time is left in the cycle. And there's also a scheduled start function, which is a nice touch. You can set it to begin making ice ahead of time so it's ready when you are. It's simple, and that's mainly the point. And once the ice is finished, I transfer it into this included storage tray and move it right into my freezer. And this keeps the ice clean, protected, and ready to use later without any of the balls picking up any of those freezer odors or damage. It's a small detail, but it really makes the process feel complete. And one quick note that's really worth mentioning, not only for this ice maker, but any ice maker that's on the market, is you want to use low TDS water. It'll give you the best tasting ice and the clearest ice as well. Personally, I went out and I bought a water distiller, and I always keep 3 to 4 gallons of distilled water on hand. It just makes life so much easier. You don't have to clean the ice makers nearly as much. And like I said, there's no impurities, so you get the best tasting ice. And now that we have the ice maker, let's get into today's cocktail. So I'm making the Fancy Free, and this is actually my first time ever having this cocktail, which is always exciting, especially when it comes to a book as influential as The Cocktail Guide and Ladies' Companion by Crosby Gaige, published back in 1940. And Gaige wasn't just a cocktail writer, he was a Broadway producer, a writer, and the president of the New York Food and Wine Society, someone deeply embedded in the cafe society of his era. The cocktail book itself blends humor and instruction and social insight, and it features contributions from names such as James Beard, Frank Case, and Lucius Beebe, along with illustrations by Rhea Irvin and a foreword by Beebe himself. So when a drink shows up in this book, it isn't just a recipe, it's really a reflection of how people were drinking and entertaining and thinking at the time. So the Fancy Free is a great example of that. So on paper, it looks simple, very restrained, kind of almost understated, and that's part of what makes it so interesting and intriguing. This is a drink that predates a lot of modern cocktail trends, including tiki, and yet feels very much in line with how we drink today. It's spirit-forward, balanced, and intentional. So this is my first time making it. Let's make the Fancy Free. And so to start, we need 2 ounces of whiskey, 1/2 of an ounce of cherry brandy or maraschino liqueur, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, and 2 dashes of Angostura orange bitters. We'll then shake this drink with ice, and we will add 1 ecozy clear ice ball and double strain into a coupe. And garnish with a lemon twist. And with that, the Fancy Free comes together. So for a drink that uses really so few ingredients, there's a lot of expectation riding on it. And there's really nowhere to hide here. The bourbon has to be solid. The cherry liqueur, the maraschino liqueur needs to have restraint. And the bitters do a lot of heavy lifting, really in terms of the structure and finish. And right on the nose, you immediately get that interplay between the citrus oils and the darker, rounder notes of the whiskey. And on the palate, that's what really stands out right away, is how composed the drink feels for only being 4 ingredients, not counting the garnish, right? And that maraschino liqueur, the cherry brandy, whichever one you use, really kind of helps. There's a nice backbone to the cocktail itself. It's dry and it's aromatic, and it lingers just long enough really to make you want another sip. So in my opinion, it's along the same lines of a standard old fashioned. Now, I've stated on this channel before, being from Wisconsin, an old fashioned where I come from is not an old fashioned that the rest of the world thinks. We use brandy and lemon lime soda and a bunch of other stuff, and it's a very much a different cocktail than what an actual old fashioned is, and that's really what this is. It tastes a lot like kind of an old fashioned, and this may not be as famous as some of its contemporaries, but after trying it, I completely understand why it's endured. It's not flashing. It doesn't really chase trends. It really just works. And honestly, that might be the highest compliment that you can give a cocktail like this. It just works. But let me know in the comments if you've had a fancy free before. I will be trying more cocktails out of this Cocktail Guide and Ladies Companion. It's a very old book, but I found it on a book archive. I'll have the book archive linked in the comments below or in the description below. It's not archive.org. It's a different one that's really just cocktail books, and there's a bunch of really old cocktail books, but I'll definitely have some more out of this. But yeah, that all being said, I will have in the description below a link to the ice maker. Definitely run out and grab this. There will also be a discount code unique to this channel. So go out, grab the clear ice maker. There's others on the market. ecozy has a bunch of them. But they're so big that a lot of people, I can definitely see not being able to have the space for it, right? So the ice ball itself, I'll give you a little inside baseball thing here. Not only myself, but probably all other cocktail YouTubers or whatever you want to call us, we make the drink. If you're a one-man team like myself and others, you make the drink, you film yourself making the drink, and then you have to stop and you have to take pictures of the drink. And between when the cocktail is made and when I actually take a first sip, you're looking at probably 10 to 15 minutes, most likely. You have to shoot B-roll, right? You get those fancy slow motion shots of the cocktail and everything. So you're at 10 to 15 minutes probably. And so this ice ball has been sitting in there for 10 to 15 minutes with room temperature alcohol. And I know a lot of people don't like this, but I refrigerate my bitters. It just is what it is. But so basically room temperature liquid, and this ice ball is still completely solid. This is something that's going to melt long after the drink is already consumed. So ecozy, thank you so much for sending me this model. It's gonna get so much use here at my home bar, especially when I'm trying to feel fancy. I wanna come home from work, and living in Vegas, there's a lot of really fancy bars and restaurants. But here's the thing, those cost a lot of money, right? And I come home from work on like a Monday or a Tuesday. I don't want to drive all the way down to the Strip, all the way down to Fremont, and get a nice fancy drink with a super fancy ice ball. Now, I don't have to. I have the ecozy 2.1 clear ice sphere maker at home. So yeah, head out, grab one of these. It's super fantastic. Let me know in the comments if you had the fancy free. If you have, what you thought of it. So yeah, there we are. So once again, thank you to ecozy for sending me this, and thank you so much for watching. So Kole Maluna, cheers and enjoy.